Did you know Queen Victoria once sent a letter to Africa but it never arrived? It turns out, she'd addressed it to the Lion King. Now, let's shift from royal mail mishaps to the start of her reign. The year was 1837, and a young Victoria ascended the British throne, beginning an era that would bear her name. Fast forward to 1877, she added Empress of India to her resume, a title that reflected the growth of the British Empire. Under her watch, Britain expanded its territories extensively, transforming into the largest empire in history. From the chilly landscapes of Canada to the sun-drenched shores of Australia, the empire spanned across continents, asserting its presence globally. And yet, the sun never set on this vast empire, a testament to its enormity. So, that's how Queen Victoria came to rule an empire where the sun never set. But let's see what this meant for Africa. Now, Queen Victoria never visited Africa. She must have thought, why get a sunburn when you can send others to do it for you? Perhaps she had a point, given the grand game of Monopoly that was the scramble for Africa. Imagine a board game where the pieces are not little dogs or top hats but chunks of an entire continent. It was an intense period of territorial acquisitions in Africa by European powers during the late 19th century. And Queen Victoria, she was one of the major players. Under her reign, Britain took control of regions that are now parts of modern-day Egypt, Sudan, Kenya, Uganda, South Africa, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. It's like she was playing bingo with a map of Africa, and the British Empire was on a winning streak. But let's take a closer look at this. In Egypt and Sudan, the British influence was clear as a bell. They controlled the Suez Canal, a vital route for ships traveling between Europe and Asia. It's like owning Boardwalk and Park Place in Monopoly, a strategic win. As for Kenya and Uganda, they became part of the British East Africa Protectorate. Imagine having a giant protectorate as your backyard playground. Moving south, we find South Africa, where the British influence extends beyond the borders of the country. The British, under Victoria's reign, established the Cape Colony and Natal as British territories. Then there's Zambia and Zimbabwe. These countries were part of what was then known as Rhodesia, named after British businessman Cecil Rhodes. It's like Queen Victoria gave her friend a country for Christmas. The influence of Victoria's reign is still felt today, with places in Africa proudly carrying her name, like Lake Victoria and Victoria Falls. Clearly, Queen Victoria had a significant influence on the African continent, even if she never set foot there. So, the next time you think about Queen Victoria, remember she was not just a queen in Britain, but a queen who left her imprint on an entire continent. Africa might not have been Queen Victoria's holiday destination, but you wouldn't know it from the map. Her regal moniker graces a multitude of locations across the continent, a testament to her influence during the era of British colonial expansion. Let's start with the grandest of them all, Victoria Falls. Located on the border of Zambia and Zimbabwe, this phenomenal waterfall is an awe-inspiring spectacle. Named by David Livingstone in honor of the Queen, it's not only a major tourist attraction but also a significant source of hydroelectric power. The thunderous falls echo the might and power of the Queen herself. Then there's Lake Victoria, Africa's largest lake by area and the world's largest tropical lake. Straddling Tanzania, Uganda, and Kenya, it's a vital water source for millions. It's a hub of biodiversity, a lifeline for local economies, and a linchpin in the East African ecosystem. Just as Queen Victoria was a central figure in her time, so too is this massive body of water in the region. And let's not forget Victoria Island in Nigeria. This bustling metropolis within Lagos is the economic heartbeat of one of Africa's most populous countries. It's a center of wealth and power, much like Queen Victoria was during her reign. These places named after Queen Victoria continued to hold significant economic and cultural importance today. They are tourist magnets, economic powerhouses, and symbols of national identity. They are constant reminders of a past era, echoes of a time when the map of Africa was being drawn and redrawn by foreign powers. So, while Queen Victoria might not have made it to Africa, her name certainly did, and it stayed there, reminding us of a time when the world was a very different place.